Hey guys, welcome back to this place, and if you are new, welcome here for the very first time. I'm Carmen, and today we are watching season 2 episode 4 of For All Mankind. Last time we had more blinking red lights. Granted, this time it was merely like an electronic at Gordo's house. So is it a signal that it's all in Gordo's head? Is it a signal that the red lights are coming back? And it could mean more. Here's to hoping. We also had a really beautiful scene with Kelly, Karen, and Ed that completely broke my heart, but in all of the best ways. And what else? Molly is probably still struggling. I don't think we really saw her in the last episode, but I'm curious when we are gonna see her again. Danielle and Gordo are currently training to go back. Tracy is supposed to go back as well. It's very drama. And I think there was something else that I wanted to talk about. Aleda is back. So I'm very excited about that. Also, and oh, sorry, hair. Cat hair. Are we shocked? We could be about to get into a war. So without further ado, let's find out.
You're canceling our cruise to the Bahamas?
You're going back to space. It doesn't make much sense, does it?
What?
So which mission is it going to be? You've already been to the moon, so that's out of the question. And Skylab, you know, it's doing good work, but
He didn't say he was going back.
Karen, I'm not going back. I'm perfectly happy.
No, you're not, Ed. You made that very clear last night.
Well,
What are you
he
talking
was
about?
having
You said you made a promise to yourself
breakdown about
that you
his
would
son.
never leave me and Kelly alone, no matter what you had to give up.
just because it's something he gave up doesn't
Come on,
mean
I
that he's
was-
miserable.
Very upset and I overreacted.
And you said exactly what you feel.
That's not true necessarily. When people are very emotional, it doesn't mean they always say what they feel.
We raised a wonderful daughter. You know, and you've been there for her every step of the way. And now she's going off to live her dreams, and there's no reason that you shouldn't too.
He doesn't want to leave you either.
I don't want to put you through that again.
I can handle it. You know, I have a business to run. So I can't sit by a squawk box all day and night wondering if you're okay. It's not that I don't support you. I do. I can't get sucked into all of that again.
She doesn't want to exist in that world anymore. She always looks like she's close to crying, and it gets me.
You good with this suit, Gordo? If not, we could put you into one of the old A7 LBs.
Ah, I like it. Raise my hands a lot higher.
You okay? All good?
You're good. Just breathe, Gordo. Deep, no, deep. Deep breaths. Is he having a panic attack?
Gordo, are you okay in there?
Yeah, good. Comms cut out. Might have to scrub this for today. I just remembered I'm due over at Building 9. I gotta take a leak. I'm not gonna use the damn bag.
No, he might not. It might not be better for him to go up. He might not be ready. He might never be ready. That's okay. I thought it would help him, but it doesn't seem to be.
What are we drinking to this time?
Someone we all know and love and deeply admire. One of the greatest, if not the greatest astronaut of our time, has decided to return to space and command Pathfinder.
Oh, Neil Armstrong.
Frank Sedgwick.
Fuck y'all. I'm going.
We heard.
Yeah, word travels fast. Hey, I thought you didn't miss it and you had no desire to go back.
You inspired me.
Mm-hmm. So, you gave yourself Pathfinder. Must be nice to be king.
What can I say? I got an eye for spotting talent. like you guys. I meant what I said. Y'all did great. I mean, that's a bit of a challenge. After all those years, just jump right back into the deep end and making it look easy. You okay, Gordo?
Yeah.
He's not okay.
I had to take my helmet off.
Yeah, that's not good.
You getting your mojo
I
back?
am. I haven't felt this good in years. It was just a moment is all.
Yeah.
No biggie.
Good.
No biggie.
Good. Glad to hear it.
He's not being honest, though. It wasn't just a little moment.
Who's taking over the astronaut office?
Oh, is he getting Molly to do it?
I want you to run the astronaut office.
Hey, me run the astronaut office. What the hell for?
Well, someone just put me in command of Pathfinder.
Oh, wow. You just assigned yourself the command of the e-ticket ride of the decade.
Yep. Just like you told me to.
Jesus Christ, you were supposed to listen to me. I was just messing with you.
Well, you were right. And assigning your own missions is one of the perks of the job.
It's a pretty ballsy move, Ed.
So what do you say?
Oh, I say no to that crown of thorns.
Look, don't overlook the upside. Homage, favor seekers, opportunities to wreak vengeance on people who cross you.
Well, that sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
But no. No. I just want to fly.
So fly. You assign your own flights. When your 6-month medical hold ends,
I pull a Baldwin, put myself in the coolest thing flying. You bastard.
you starting a week. You can thank me later. A bottle of Glenfarclas 25 would be nice. Although Glenfiddich never disappoints.
I like Molly. I'm worried about what's gonna happen to her.
I'm hoping we can find a way to make a fresh start.
Why? I know you wanted him to admire you. Worship the ground you walked on. Is that what you call love?
That doesn't sound
That's
like
not at all what I...
Danielle to me.
You don't know me.
Yeah.
You never bothered to.
Oh, I know you all right. Clayton told me what really happened on the moon.
He wouldn't.
He's never kept secrets from me.
Why would that make you...
Told me how you really broke your arm.
Why would that make you look at her in a bad light?
All to protect some white man's career.
That man
Her friend.
was my friend.
Yeah.
A part of my crew. The color of his skin had nothing to do with it.
And look how they've rewarded you. Made you a laughing stock.
If that were true, why would they send me back to the moon?
You're gonna help them spend millions to find out if beans will sprout on the moon. If they'd used that money to fund a decent counseling program at the VA, maybe Clay wouldn't have killed himself.
Look, I
I don't know why I thought this time
had
would
a
be any
feeling that
different.
that's what it was.
You were never gonna change.
I do think that veterans
Hold on.
need a lot more assistance coming home.
I've got something for you too.
But that's not her fault. She, like, just because she's an astronaut doesn't mean that she can control
This was Clay's.
federal funding. Like, it going to someone else.
He ever tell you what his fellow soldiers did the day after Martin Luther King was assassinated? They threw a party, put on Klan outfits, paraded around with Confederate flags. But hey, they gave Clay a medal, so that makes it all okay.
That wasn't the men in Clay's
So
platoon.
I'm not
fucked
talking about
up.
his platoon. I'm talking about the United States government. Uncle Sam used us as cannon fodder.
Clayton was proud to serve.
At first. But by the time he got back, he was just putting on a good show to please you. He did everything for you. And now that he's gone, all you want to do is forget him. Well, go ahead. Go back to the moon and help them start another Vietnam up there.
That is not... We are doing serious research to build a better future for us all.
You sound just like them. But you're not one of them. Never will be. They may have let you on the bus, but you will always have to ride in the back.
It's just so sad. Like, all of it, you know?
I didn't know you felt so passionately about space. I guess I thought...
What, that I'm a glad-handing politician who cares more about my career than I do about NASA?
We all thought it.
Nah, it's okay. No. I know everyone at JSC thinks I'm just Reagan's lackey. Just like they thought I was Nixon's lackey a decade ago. But I don't mind it.
Well, stop acting like slacky.
People have hated politicians as long as there have been politicians, but...
They usually have a good reason. Just...
The truth is, we're the ones that make this all possible. You're as genuine as the sunrise. The trick is not to lose track of who you really are.
You're so many different people. How do you know which one's really you? Wonder if she'll get anything from Pam. There is something from Pam. It's number 10. Did she write a book of poetry about her? I could cry. Poetry. Her poems been published. Oh, I want to read one of them. Spoiler alert. All of them. Let me see one. Let me see one. I am a fiend for poetry. I love poetry. It's not gonna let me read it, is it? It's probably really cheesy poetry, isn't it? Kind of makes me want to read it more.
Let's put that on.
He's trying to hide his red hair.
That's gonna work. You just drew right seat of Pathfinder's maiden flight.
Gary!
Roger that, sir.
I'm pretty sure that's his name.
Thank you.
Proud of you, you little nerd.
It's not good enough.
Not good enough?
I'm sorry, but it's not.
Is she gonna go on Pathfinder too?
I want a command slot.
Oh.
Danny, you really have been out of the loop for too long. You don't just waltz in and demand...
You know the sacrifices I've made. How much time I've lost. I was the first African-American in space, Ed. And now here I am, just still riding in the back.
She's not wrong.
Come on, Danny. You really gonna take it there?
I've given it a lot of thought. I want to be the first African-American woman to command a mission.
First woman black commander is now a thing? Seriously, we're gonna parse it that fine?
You damn right we are, Ed.
It's important.
If you don't give me a command
representation
spot, I will always
important.
be seen as that weak little black girl who fell apart on the moon.
She
but
did
if I
that.
were a white man, they'd have forgiven me a long time ago.
I understand it feels that way.
No, it is that way. It is that way.
It's just not true.
That's wrong. You are wrong.
Remember Mercury 4, when Gus Grissom splashed and the hatch blew early? Press never let him forget about that. You know, that had nothing to do with the color of his skin.
You can't understand that.
You sound like an NFL owner.
Look, we've dealt with this issue.
No. We haven't.
No. You took a small step. You have to keep taking steps.
I came into this program as the token black girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I was grateful for the opportunity, no matter what the reasons. But that was 13 years ago.
You have to keep taking
This
steps
program,
forward.
it has the power to change the way people see the world.
Yes.
You know that.
I gotta get to the meeting.
Ed. It better be a meeting about her.
I can give you the commander right now.
What?
It better be
I
Danielle.
hope you're not pointing yourself to this one, too.
Nope, I'm assigning Danielle Poole. She has extensive Apollo experience, and she'll be perfect for this.
Well, yeah. Well, we might want to consider other possibilities.
Nope.
Why is that?
Yeah, this mission is very important to the president. He wants only the best of the best to fly it.
That's Danielle.
I spent 3 months on the moon with her. She performed brilliantly under very stressful circumstances.
And I appreciate your loyalty, but you know that's not true.
It is true. Actually, fuckhead. This is made of glasses.
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
Come on, man. Do I really need to spell it out? The whole thing with her arm.
That wasn't her fault.
Well, if the public makes...
So we change public opinion.
Tom, I trained with Poole, and I agree with Ed.
So do I.
Yes.
She did an exceptional job for us during the Apollo 24 crisis.
Yes.
And I think it's time for an African-American woman to command a spaceflight.
There's no argument there. Hell, I'm the one that selected Poole as an astronaut to begin with.
So what's the problem?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a lot of blowback from the White House.
Okay. Deal with it.
You need to remind them of the plaque that we were going to bring up on Apollo 11. We came in peace for all mankind. Now, we need to live up to that.
For all.
And this mission, with all its symbolic value, is the perfect
mankind.
opportunity to do so.
I think Ed's right on this.
All.
Now look, the Soviets love to grab any opportunity to highlight our troubled history with race relations. Now, this will send a powerful message about the progress that we've made.
Still have so far to go.
I got your back on this, Tom.
Proud of Ed. Sad that it took Danielle telling him for it to happen.
I give you Pathfinder. Now, there'll be a lot of eyes on us. So we can afford no fuck-ups. That's why we will train our asses off.
I want to see the masses fall off.
Let's go make history.
Oh, it's in his head because of the ants.
You can see those ants?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to miss.
Okay, so it's not in his head.
I'll go and see him. He's laying flat on his back in his bed. He's gasping like a fish out of water. I just couldn't take it. Just ran out of the room.
Okay.
It's just too weak to...
I don't think we have to say that it was weakness.
What am I gonna do, Ed?
You can start acting like a man.
Okay, that's also not helpful, Ed.
What?
You heard me. You're a goddamn astronaut. You sat your ass on top of 5.5 million pounds
That
of high
doesn't
explosive fuel and told them like the fumes.
trauma
And now you're
or
sitting there crying like a
PTSD.
fucking baby. Oh, Ed, I'm so scared. I'm so weak. How about you grow a pair for Christ's sakes?
This is when Ed
Careful,
pisses
Ed.
me off.
What? El Gordo's gonna do something?
El Gordo just might.
This is when Ed pisses
Maybe you have lost it.
Shut up.
Huh? Maybe you're not Gordo Stevenson.
Shut up!
Why don't you book a flight to Florida on Pan Am? I'm sure they can find you a seat.
Lights on, buddy.
See, this I think is fine. It's the whole be a man from before that is toxic.
Yeah, I don't want you doing this with Kelly, though. Ever. Right?
Aye, aye, ma'am.
We call that dumb luck, Gordo. Just make it to us. Not good. Morning, Tom.
Oh, Jesus, Ed, you're on fire. You got flames under your left engine.
Oh, shit, no.
You better get out and walk, buddy.
We'll go for a swim.
Okay, sir. Ed, get out of there now. Mayday, Mayday, Houston Center, NASA 910 off
Ed,
the
get
go.
out.
NASA 959 is on fire and ejecting now.
Okay. Okay, I hope Ed is okay. So I thought this was a really good episode. I thought that it dealt with some important issues, like everything with Danielle and Clayton and race and just the truth of 1983, right, that they're living in right now, which unfortunately, in 2024, where we're living in right now, we're still not leaps and bounds past that, unfortunately. I wonder if, since this is like an alternate history, if we'll make better strides in this show than we have in real life. You know, hopefully, maybe that could be like a sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a guide, or like something that we could look at and be like, yeah, we could do things better. You know what I mean? I thought that Clayton's sister, I don't like that she doesn't like Danielle, and I think that her blaming Danielle for like her brother joining the military and then dying isn't really fair to Danielle, because let's say that he made those choices because he loved her. That still isn't her forcing him to make those choices. So I don't think it's really fair to blame her for choices that he made. You know what I mean? That being said, from her perspective, I mean, you can't blame her for disliking the government, for disliking the military, for disliking the country. You know, like, it's just a fact that we live in a racist society still in 2024. Has it gotten better? Yes. Do we still have miles and miles and miles and miles to go before it's equal for everyone? Yeah, unfortunately we do. And I think denying the reality of that doesn't do anything to help the people who are currently suffering under a systemic racism issue in this country, right? And I like that the show isn't shying away from that. They're not shying away from, you know, the horrors of homophobia or racism or sexism or any of, you know, any of that. And I think that it's good, even though it is uncomfortable, right? And I think that people like me and other white people watching need to lean into that discomfort in order to not shy away from the fact that it was and still is a major issue in this country. And I think that by trying to bury your head in the sand and pretend it wasn't and pretend it isn't, it doesn't help anybody, you know? Just like when Danielle's having the conversation with Ed and he's like, come on, you're gonna pull the race card or whatever. He said something like that. Or you're gonna like turn it into this, which, you know, is what he was saying. And it's like, yeah, she is, and she should, and she has to, because there are 205 people in the astronaut program, and 11 of those people are black. And one has had a command. One. It's not that only one person is capable of having command. It's not that only 11 black people are capable of being astronauts. It's an issue. It's an issue of systemic racism. You can take one step forward by putting Danielle in the arena. You can take one step forward by putting other people like her in the arena. But you can't stay that one step forward. You have to keep consistently challenging yourself, making more steps forward if you want anything to change. And so I'm really happy that Ed did not disappoint me in there. I mean, a little bit, but he is a man of his time as well. And I do try. I know, like, some people, like, I've seen some comments, like, people being like, you have to put them into the context of, like, how they were raised and the society in which they were raised in. And, like, I do. I do. I really try very hard to put them in that context, right? it doesn't mean that I forgive the issues, because like the thing is, racism should have never been a thing. Homophobia shouldn't be a thing. You know, just because you grew up in that society doesn't mean that you have to be shaped by that in a negative way, right? Like, I grew up in the Bible Belt of the South. Like, you can unlearn things. You can educate yourself. You can be better than the sum of the people around you, you know? And I'm not saying it's easy. And I do think that I do a pretty good job of giving grace to these characters for the time in which they exist. That being said, there are certain things that I am only willing to give so much grace on, you know? And when it's an issue of human rights and my brain can't comprehend why it wouldn't be, like, I still give grace, but like, change things. Try to push forward. Try to overcome what you're taught, you know? That's all any of us can do, right? Is like, grow up, learn more information about the world, become more educated, become more aware, and then change the parts of us that are shitty or that don't help with that, you know? Change your mind. You're always capable of learning more and changing your mind and becoming a better version of yourself. And I believe that about everyone, you know? Anyway, speaking of that, Ed has this thing where he did it to Shane last season, and he's doing it to Gordo now, where it's like his empathy kind of only exists to a certain extent. And then he goes like the tough love, like, be a man, don't do this route. And I just think that that's, again, I understand that Ed is a person of his time. He's a man of his time, and he was raised in the time he was raised in. It's so toxic, though. It does not help. You cannot outman trauma. You cannot outman being human. You know, you can't just be a man and PTSD doesn't exist. Like, that's not how it works. And I understand that Ed is in 1983 and he has a limited understanding of mental health and all of that stuff. But it's like, I wish that he would just not do that shit, you know? I wish he would just not do that shit. I am excited about Ed being on Pathfinder with Gary, I believe, and I don't remember her name. We might have learned it, but it was fleeting. I'm excited about that, and I'm excited to see where that goes, because obviously that is going to be a vast departure from this timeline we exist in, because we have not yet been to Mars, you know, as humans. Like, human people have not yet been to Mars. We've sent unmanned rovers and like unmanned crafts, but not like flesh and blood peoples. So this is of course assuming that he is fine from ejecting from that plane just then, because like, I guess we still don't know that for sure, but he better be, okay? Oh, I also am so excited that we actually do have a little bit of a little hint about Pam. She wrote a book of poetry for, I'm gonna go back actually, a book of poetry for Ellen, and I want to see if I can read the poem. I think it's gonna be horrible, but I love poetry, so I have to try to see what it says, you know? I just love poetry and write poetry, which I will not be showing because you guys would be like, it's not the best I've ever read. Imagine. I should write a poem about For All Mankind. Maybe about Ellen. That could be fun. I love writing poems about characters. Anyway. Sorry. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that at all. Feel free to say it's not the best I've ever heard if I do write it and you read it. Anyway, I'm excited. I hope that that means we get to see Pam more and more of their interactions, because I really didn't think that we were going to see her. I thought she kind of gave up on Ellen, but it seems like she's still holding a torch. So I will hold a torch for them as well. So I am glad that Danielle got a command. Like I said, that she fought for with Ed for. She is the one that's doing the command that's going to show the Soviets the old tech, pretending it's the current tech, so that they think that we're like way less advanced than we are, correct? I believe so. I'm curious as how that's going to go down, because presumably there's also going to be like information about the Pathfinder. Also, if the Soviet Union is showing tech as well, like, should we not assume that they're going to do the same thing and show us like tech from like 20 years ago? That doesn't fucking matter anymore, because you know how fast technology evolves. It's like they're doing a trust exercise and building in distrust to the exercise. So what's the point? Publicity, I guess. But I liked the Let's Go Make History line. The last thing I want to talk about is Karen and Danny. There was a couple moments in this episode, like the joint moment and the wrestling moment, that concern me a little bit. I'm concerned that they're going to make Danny have a crush on Karen. And I don't know how I feel about it. Not great, since he literally grew up with her as like an aunt / second mom figure. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. It's quite possible I read too much into everything, but I just don't know how I feel about that moment, honestly, you guys. Those moments. Dina's being very cute. Alright guys, I think that is kind of all I really have to say about this episode though. Thank you so much for watching as always. If you want, you can watch the next episode right now over on Patreon if you're watching this on YouTube. Excuse me. As well as my full-length reaction to this episode and all episodes so far of For All Mankind. That is over there as well. That is linked in the description down below. The Patreon. I feel like I said that confusingly. Also, if you want, you can like, comment, and subscribe, because it really helps me out. And I hope to see you next time for episode 5, which means we'll be halfway through season 2. I feel like I'm just barreling through this show. Until next time. Bye, guys.